He's one of my favorite players. But this is the guy who made me lose this week. So many emotions. What's up, guys? I'm Lil'Shane, aka DakKnight, and this is my fantasy football recap video. What's up, Leftovers League? It's me again, Lil'Shane, aka DakKnight, here to review what happened in Week 6. Got a really cool show today. Have a very special guest that's coming on later on, so make sure you stay tuned to the end. I'm going to be interviewing one of our fellow Leftovers Podcast League members himself. So that's really, really cool. And there are a lot of cool games, a lot of close games this week, including my own, which you didn't see how it ended, was absolutely ridiculous. So you're going to want to see my review on that, and it did not go in my favor. All right, let's go ahead and jump into it, because we have a lot to cover, and I don't want this video to go too long. So Patrick Sager versus draft grade A+. Two heavy hitters going against each other this week. I was really looking forward to what would happen. I thought that Patrick Sager was going to be able to take him down, but Dave was actually able to keep his record undefeated and pull it out. Now, only Adam Thielen was over 20 points, but he didn't really have any major busts on his team, just all-around good production. Patrick had 3 big games, and that had made up for 3 single-digit performances, but wasn't quite enough to dethrone our first-place man. Patrick had weapons, but he just should have started Zay Flowers or Nico Collins. Looking through his team, he had some tough decisions to make, I think, but I definitely would have started Nico over Mike Evans if it were me. And that would have helped him get the extra 2 or 3 points to beat Patrick. But regardless, he shot himself in the foot there, and draft grade A+ stays undefeated. It's funny because my prediction from last week's video was that both of these teams would start to regress to their luck factor means. And that didn't happen. Mr. Martin completely proved me wrong, and he put up the most points in the league and solidified his position at the top. Just win, baby, and that's all he's doing is winning. More power to you, man. Congratulations. Poor Patrick Sager continued his unlucky streak. I mean, he would have beaten every single other team in the league this week, and he had to play him. Unbelievable. Sorry about you, Patrick. I hope I didn't jinx you, man. By the way, Heath, if you're listening, I know you drink LaCroix as well. The black raspberry LaCroix is fantastic. Little plug there. One of my favorites. All right, Brittany Mumford versus Make Canada Great Again. Poor Brittany ran into some bad luck herself. My goodness. She would have beaten 6 other teams this week, but she can't seem to find the right matchup in the right week to get her first win. Solid play from her wideouts. Handed her a really good score of 130.88, but it wasn't enough to cover the 141 points that Raheem Mostert and Make Canada Great Again put up. Man, Raheem Mostert is just having himself a season. It was pretty much the Mostert show for Matt, but the Chiefs DST put up a decent score as well and helped boost him to a guaranteed win. He also set a perfect lineup, but it's kind of easy when you have 6 players that are hurt or on bye. So yes, perfect lineup. Well done, Make Canada Great Again. All right, Barksdale Ballers versus Dylan Raspberry. Bruce took down Dylan this week with good performances from his QBs, which he desperately needed. His QBs provided over 40 of his 119 points, and Stephon Diggs was a perfect 10 receptions for 100 yards. That stat line just looked cool. Dylan, on the other hand, was damaged by his QBs, which Brock Purdy having the worst game of the year and Josh Allen kind of getting hurt and not really doing Josh Allen things. That Buffalo-New York game was just a little boring this week. You know, it's always weird when your wide receiver outscores your quarterback, just like Diggs did to Allen. I don't know. Could Dylan have won? Yes, technically he could have beaten Bruce by about 2 points if he would have both started Geno Smith over Brock Purdy and Amari Cooper over Marquise Brown. I'll let you slide on those missed calls, man. You were kind of going uphill. For the People versus Adams Apology Meter. What happened with our commissioners and our analysts, Adam and Heath, this week? So we had the top 2 teams battle it out, and we had the bottom 2 teams from this week also battle it out. That's exactly what Frank needed to get in the win column. A little bit of my luck factor. TM. Adam's apology meter would have only beaten one other team this week, and he happened to face that team perfectly. 13 total players in this matchup in single digits, including a goose egg from Frank's tight end, who I think Dalton Kincaid was, and he was hurt. Probably should have been played anyway. But just an ugly matchup. Dave Martin reminded us, all that matters is winning, right? So just win, baby. And that's exactly what Frank was able to do. Adam and Heath had the tools to win this week, but they took some chances, and they did not pay off. Starting Heath's favorite all-time player, Gabe Davis, over both Tyler Lockett and Ramondre Stevenson might have been questionable call that cost them the W there. Is this one of those beats, Adam, that just had you defeated this week? But regardless, congrats to Adam's apology meter for getting your name in the win column, bud. All right. Okay, before I talk about the absolute ridiculousness of my game with Brian Hagerman, I had the absolute pleasure of interviewing him this past week. He's a really awesome guy, and sit back and get to know Brian a little bit. Here he is. What's up, Brian?
What's up, man? Thanks for having me on here.
Yeah, man. I really appreciate you being here today and taking the time on this Sunday morning. The games are about to start, but we already had one game this morning, didn't we?
Yeah, Henry did good for me. Better than projected, for sure.
Yeah. I have him in another league where I need him to do well in this week, so I was kind of conflicted. I was like, do good, but, don't go off. Like, take it easy, Yeah. A big second half. All right, Brian, let's get into it, man. Why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself? Everybody knows me at this point. What's going on with you? Where are you from? What do you do? How long have you been playing fantasy? All that good stuff.
All right. Yeah, so I'm Brian. I work at UPS. And that's part of what's good about fantasy is because I listen to Fantasy Football Today or whatever in my ear. So then I don't have to spend a lot of time on my phone when I do have some free time. But I'm trying to think of what all you asked. So I've got 2 young kids, and a wife, obviously. Or maybe that's not obvious. And there's an edit right there. No, but I have a couple of young kids and my wife. And I've been in fantasy football probably, 2000 something. I don't know, 2008 maybe. I don't know. I'm trying to remember like the teams I had and the people on there. I remember I was in an auto draft, and I the whole thing was auto, not just like I wasn't there, but I got my first 2 picks in a either 14 or 16 team league was Peyton Manning and Chris Johnson or whatever. And it was the year where Peyton got hurt before the year started, and Chris Johnson did nothing all year, which was worse than having an injured player because you keep playing him and he gives you nothing. But yeah, so anyway, all that. What do I do? Obviously, I do fantasy football. I commission a couple of leagues, a work league and a home league. The home league's in its 12th year, so it's a lot of fun. But here I am in the Leftovers League, my third league. Usually I do 2. And you were telling me just a second ago you are down to 5?
Yeah, I'm down to 5. I'm usually in 6 or 7. I was going to go down to 4 this year, but then I always couldn't say no. And Mr. Azer invited me to this league I was pretty excited about. So how long have you been listening to Fantasy Football Today, and what did you do specifically to get into this league?
I've been listening for a handful of years. Whenever I discovered it, I don't remember what year it was, but so several years, I guess I'll say. And I don't have a whole lot of time, but I decided to try out for a listener league, right? And failed, but we landed here in the Rejects League. I think it renamed to the Leftovers League, but I sent a video. He said if you do a video, put it through YouTube, so I did that. So if you feel like watching a really silly under a minute video with some inside jokes that have to do with Fantasy Football Today, it's on the one video on my YouTube channel. So you can watch that if you want. And Yeah. So
Maybe
I
I'll
keep.
check
What's
that
that?
out maybe I'll go check that out before I edit the final of this video.
All right. All right. It's not. All right. Yeah. You don't want no copyright songs on there.
That's cool, man. All right. So talking about the show, who's your favorite analyst?
All right. So this one, because you gave me a list, and usually I like just answering on the fly because then I get everything in my head and then I try to say it the right way anyway. So favorite analyst, I'll say, well, obviously everyone brings something. It's one of the strengths of the show. You have everyone talking about everything. And Adam draws it out really well. And so, and that's half my answer is I don't know if you consider Adam an analyst or not in the question, but the way he brings things out, or like I remember a few years ago, he was saying, isn't it really important to have an elite quarterback? And I was thinking, yeah, but everyone seemed to be disagreeing. I don't know if he backed off of that or not, but that's an example of him like saying something. But anyway, to tie break all the analysts, a few years ago, Jamie said, get this guy. I think it was before week 1. Get James Robinson. So I picked him up in both of my leagues and won both of my leagues. So he ended up being a leagues winner for me that year. So I'll say Jamie gets the tiebreaker just for that alone.
Yeah, man. I'm an old school Jamie follower. I mean, I remember back in the day when I was so green, I would just take Jamie's rankings and be like, "This is what I'm gonna do. I'm not doing any research at all." And I started winning a lot of fantasy games, and I won a title that way. And I was like, And so I've been following Jamie for a long time. I'm really liking Heath these days because I'm doing 2 dynasty leagues, and Heath is more into the dynasty side. I think Heath has a lot of value to that show too. But I follow both of them. I'm with you there with Adam too. I mean, he's half the show, the entertainment. So props to you, bud.
Yeah.
All right, so let's get back into like this league. So let's talk about the draft a little bit.
Okay.
What was your best pick? And also, what's something that you regret that you may have done differently from the draft?
My best pick is going to be a lazy answer. I'm pretty sure every time I've had Travis Kelce on my team, I've won the championship. So I'll just say that's my best pick.
Fair enough.
The regrets is someone real late, and I don't typically draft this player, but I would have that late and then traded him. Someone picked up Mike Williams. I forget what round it was in, but it was really late in the draft. And so I would have drafted him if I saw him, but I overlooked him, and he's out of the he's hurt now, but I would have traded him by then.
Yeah. He was sitting there pretty late. I remember that. I got a Drake London and DJ Moore pretty late too. I was not happy about those picks, but apparently DJ Moore has made himself worth it so far.
Yeah, that's what's interesting in our matchup. I've got Field, but you have DJ Moore. You have Justin Herbert, but I have Keenan Allen.
I know.
So we'll see.
Have to break it, man. Someone's got to break. I think that are we still pretty close? Like even after this morning games and stuff.
It's like a point.
Yeah, it'll be close. It'll be fun to watch all day long.
That's with them projecting your Bills defense to only get like 16 points against the Adam Azer, Dan Schneider Giants, who are not gonna do too good, I don't think.
Those projections they have through Sportsline, I mean, they're just so middle of the road and
kind of have to be.
Like when they used to go off of the analyst projections, they project, McCaffrey or some of these big guys for a lot of points, but now they're just so conservative. I don't even really pay attention to them anymore. Nothing against Sportsline. I'm sure they pour a lot of time and energy and money into those things, but I'm going to listen to more word of mouth and,
Yeah.
Whatever.
Speaking of that, I don't know if going against projections is how they rank this, but they have us ranked as the number 2 and you as the number 1 coach. I don't know if that's what it says on the site. Yeah. So we'll see.
So the coach's rating is, I used to know how they calculate that. It has to do with you making the best picks every week, basically.
Okay.
And how maximizing the score on your based on what you potentially could have scored on a given week. So, I mean, that's good. Honestly, that's a compliment to the CBS Sports team because I make my picks based off of them. So that's cool to know. I hadn't even looked at that stat. All right, so your team specifically, what do you think your chances are of making the playoffs? There's only 4 teams that make it in this league.
I know. I usually like to do short-term sacrifices for long-term gains, but when only 4 make the playoffs, can't really do that. You can't get 5th place with a strong team at the end of the year. It doesn't do anything. So I'll be kind of lazy again, yet bold at the same time, and say 50% chance to make top 4. I know I'm not looking good right now for that, but we'll see. And what was the other one?
And who do you think's gonna win it all? Do you think draft grade A+ is really gonna run the table on this thing, even though it's undefeated? Or
nah, maybe.
My video last week? Broke down the chances and everything.
Yeah, I know Patrick has a strong team. Canada has a good team. He lost Jefferson, but he has a bunch of other hurt guys coming back, like Aaron Jones, Chris Olave with the foot, or Derek Carr's shoulder. If Lawrence turns them on, I was looking at some of the teams earlier, and I think make Canada great again. Although he lost Jefferson, if he can stay up there and get him back and make a push, I think he'd be a strong contender, as well as the more obvious one, like Patrick and So I think you broke it down better in the previous video, but yeah, I think those are some of the strong guys. And of course, everyone should like their own team, so I kind of like my team. We'll see if Jonathan Taylor does anything for me.
Yeah, I probably wouldn't put money on my team. I'd probably put money on Patrick Sager if I really had to choose somebody. But there's 6 teams that could make 4. I mean, there's actually 7 technically that could make the top 4. So we'll see how it goes. It could be anybody. I'm with you. Make Canada great again. If he can stay at 500 from now until Jefferson is back, he can make a push to win it all. Got a good team. He had a bad week last week. All right, Brian, you have any questions for me before we wrap things up?
Yeah. So I'm on 6+ acres out here, but I do not have a pig. So you gotta say a little bit more about your pig.
Oh, I'm on 24 acres down in Texas.
Nice.
It's just farmland. Most of it is my farmer does hay for me, but the pig is not a farm animal at all. She's an indoor house pig that my wife broke me down after years of wanting these. They're genetically bred mini pigs. So even though she looks kind of big, she's not going to get much bigger than like 40, 50 pounds, considering most pigs are like 300. And so she actually doesn't run the land at all. She plays in the backyard. She sleeps in my son's bed sometimes. She has her own room in the house, and she's like a cat or a dog. And she's just a trainable, weird pet. But the kids love her. My wife loves her. So yeah, she's just a pet. That's all she is.
Nice.
Yeah.
And then obviously your name's DakKnight Rises. I like that. I did want to mention mine comes from a 1990 movie, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. And Casey Jones, they're fighting the Foot Clan or whatever. You remember that? And so he sees some of the leftovers of the Foot Clan, and he's like, "Oh boy, leftovers." So then he's like, so that's where it comes to mind when I hear leftovers. Yeah.
Dude, I'm a huge Turtles fan, and I did not put that together until you mentioned it. Now I love it. Awesome, man. That's awesome. And now my son Ninja Turtles and everything. We see all the new movies together. We saw the new animated one that came out a couple weeks ago. That was fun.
Nice.
Cool, man. Well, Brian, thank you so much for taking time on this Sunday morning. The games are about to start like right now, so let's go watch some football.
All right.
Thing edited out, and we'll get it on the show either today or on Wednesday morning. But I really appreciate you taking time. Thanks for answering all my questions. And hey, good luck today, but I really hope I beat you.
That's what I was gonna say.
All right, see you, man.
All right. See, it's so hard to be pissed at that guy for beating me because he's so nice. Anyways, now I'm going to break down the ridiculousness that was our matchup. So we had a lot at stake this week. I was trying to go 4-2, push him to 2-4, or both of us was going to be 500. But the way I lost to on Monday night was just insane. So this matchup really had some important implications, like I just mentioned. Neither of us had an amazing week, to be honest. There were no players over 20 points on either side. The top player in this matchup was Justin Herbert, who had me right under 20 points. And then Kelsey, for him, was about 17 points. George Kittle was a major bust, as per his MO, as being boom or bust or boom or bust. Puka Nacua has officially been nerfed by Cooper Kupp. I'll pat myself on the back for looking ahead and picking up Chuba Hubbard a few weeks ago, who did well, but not quite well enough. Monday night was crazy. And I was so conflicted. Obviously, above all else, I want my Cowboys to win, and that will always be the case, especially after the embarrassment they put up against the 49ers last week. But it was weird because I had Herbert. He had Keenan Allen and the Cowboys DST. So every time Herbert would do something good, it would lower Brian's DST score. Unless the play was to Keenan Allen, which most of them were, to be honest, and then it would raise his score and lower the DST score and then raise Herbert's score. And guys, we were at 50-50 almost all weekend long until the last quarter of Monday night. I'm serious. It was the closest matchup I think I've ever been with. To make matters worse, just for me, I had Keenan Allen in another league that I was playing, and I needed him to do well. And I was also playing against Austin Eckler in another league. I mean, luckily I won both those matchups, but my emotions were just going absolutely nuts trying to follow around. I didn't know what to root for, so I just rooted for the blue and white, and hopefully Cowboys get the win, which they did. Okay, so with like less than 2 minutes to go in the Cowboys-Chargers game, I was 99% to win this matchup. It was done. It was over. I was going to have a perfect weekend. There was virtually no way Brian was going to beat me. He needed a 4-point swing. Even if there was a turnover, that's only 2 points for the Cowboys DST, so I thought I had it in the bag. Even then, if Herbert moved the ball down the field a little bit more, his points would go up and the DST points would go down, increasing the margin even more, so I was feeling really confident. Then, here comes Micah Parsons. He hadn't recorded a sack all game, and he was hungry. Boom! Knocks Herbert to the ground, 1 point for Brian. All right. Still needs 3 points. I'm still good, right? Right? I'm still good. Even with a turnover, that's only 2 points, so I'm still good. The very next play, interception to end the game. I'm jumping. I'm like, okay, Cowboys win, Cowboys win. That was only 2 points. I'm still going to beat Brian. Except I forgot about the interception 1 point penalty for Herbert. I look down at my score and see that I've been beat. If Micah doesn't get that sack, I win. Herbert doesn't throw that pick, or if he picks up about 20 more yards before he throws that pick, I win. So many things could happen, and I would win. This was the craziest ending to a fantasy game that I've ever been a part of. And I once won a championship by 1 point from a Robbie Gould 55-yard field goal. I couldn't believe it. But you know what? That's what fantasy is about. Oh, and this loss was completely self-inflicted. I throw everyone else under the bus for harming themselves. Look who I left on my bench. For the first time since I drafted him, by the way. Yeah, just who I named my team after. Anyways. Congratulations, Brian. Beating me, especially in the way you did. Now we're both 3-3. There are a handful of 3-3 teams. We're both definitely still in the mix to make the playoff spot, man. I'm going to go in through the standings and stuff next week because this has been a longer video. But I hope you really enjoyed watching this today, and I hope you enjoyed getting to know Brian a little bit. He really is a cool guy. You know, that's what fantasy is all about. It's fun competition with fun people. And just getting to know new people is always fun. And so again, get active in the chat, guys. Let's talk to each other. Let's have fun. Let's build this little community. I think it really is really important for us. Once again, this is Lil'Shane, a.k.a. DakKnight. Have a good night, and good luck in Week 7.
Gotta go right now. Gotta go, gotta go, gotta go. Gotta go, gotta go.
Oh yeah! Let's get ready to rumble!
Round 1. Fight!
But that's just an Azer stat.